Patrick Mahomes is the standard by which all modern quarterbacks are judged. Many have drawn comparisons or been outright deemed the next Mahomes, from Jordan Love in 2020 to Trey Lance and Zach Wilson in the 2021 NFL Draft, all the way up to the likes of Malik Willis in 2022, none of which, up to this point in their young careers, have come close to living up to those expectations. But from the time he first stepped foot on campus in Norman, Oklahoma, Caleb Williams has captured the imagination of onlookers and drawn that same lofty comparison. But are we simply making the same foolish mistake once again? Or is Caleb Williams the one to finally live up to that impossible standard? With just a glimpse of Caleb's highlight reel in his lone season at USC, it's not hard to see why he's been mentioned in the same breath as Mahomes. Routinely on Saturday nights, he made jaw-dropping plays that demoralized defenses and brought the Trojan faithful to their feet. Few quarterbacks at any level can compare to his ability to create magic outside of structure. On this play versus Utah, initially he wants to hit the in-breaking route from the slot to the boundary, but he recognizes this hook defender sitting in the window, so he drifts backwards in the pocket to buy more time. Once the defender breaks free, he's going to spin away from pressure to escape out to the left. He keeps his eyes downfield and is able to drop this throw right in the bucket along the sidelines that gets dropped by his receiver. He plays with great composure in the face of chaos and never panics. On this play, he gets flushed out by pressure but keeps his eyes downfield to hit his target in stride on the reroute with perfect touch to lead him upfield for the big play. On this next play, he works to the boundary initially, but his first two reads are taken away. He senses backside pressure to escape out to his left. He's able to locate his target in the back of the end zone and orchestrate on the move to make an unbelievable throw that unfortunately gets dropped. He possesses instincts outside of structure that you just can't teach. He has a sixth sense for these type of plays, but also the absurd arm talent to drive the ball 30 plus yards while off platform and taking a hit. But his playmaking proclivities can also be somewhat of a double-edged sword. His average time to throw on non-screen passes was 3.62 seconds in 2022, the highest of all FBS quarterbacks, according to PFF, higher than both Justin Fields at Ohio State in 2020 and Malik Willis's at Liberty in 2021. And these plays are often a result of his own doing. On this one, he evades initial pressure, but once he resets, he misses a target coming open in the middle of the field and holds the ball to take a sack to knock the Trojans out of field goal range. His vision in the middle of the field is a major question. At the top of his drop, he has a sit route open, but he doesn't pull the trigger and drifts backwards in the pocket, continues to hold the ball, and after meandering around a bit, eventually takes a sack. Once again, at the top of his drop, he has an open target in the middle of the field, but he misses it and is forced to abandon structure. And while on the scramble drill, he forces the ball downfield, and the play results in an interception that, fortunately for him, gets called back due to a penalty. And this is largely due to his lack of size. The sit route comes open underneath, but he simply can't see from behind his center and the nose tackle, which forces him to abandon the structure of the play and to try to make something happen outside of the pocket. This next play is an even better example. USC is running mesh. His target comes wide open, but from behind his offensive line, he can't see it and is then forced to abandon the structure and try to make some magic happen, which he almost does. But when he is given a clear lane to throw from, he can make some incredibly impressive throws in the middle of the field. On this play, he climbs versus pressure to hit the same route in the middle of the field that we saw him miss on mesh in a prior clip. His footwork can also get him in trouble. Instead of settling at the top of his drop, he continues to drift backwards and is late pulling the trigger on this curl route, which allows the corner to trigger down on it for the pass breakup. On this next play, we're going to see the same thing again. where he drifts backwards and misses a throw. But he is such a dynamic athlete that he can find a way out of the messes he creates for himself to make ridiculous plays like this one and rip off big runs. Here, he misses a potential target in the middle of the field, but is still able to escape the pocket and shake the linebacker one-on-one in space to pick up the first down. His blend of straight line speed and wiggle in tight spaces make him a legitimate run game weapon, and his well-built frame at 6'1" and 215 pounds allows him to lower his shoulder in space to finish through contact and traffic. But athleticism and playmaking outside of structure are not enough to be an elite quarterback at the next level. He has an elite sense for pressure and is an adept pocket navigator. Here he climbs versus edge pressure to settle into the pocket and rip this dig route 25 plus air yards. Here, he's confronted with immediate A-gap pressure. He's able to slide away and climb up into the pocket and rifle this throw in while taking a hit. He's also displayed high-level quarterback traits. Here, he holds the linebacker before pulling the trigger in the middle of the field with anticipation. On this play, he holds the middle field safety with his eyes before he hits the top of his drop, then quickly snaps back to the boundary to hit his target in stride deep. Here, Fresno shows 3 high, then drops down to 1 high post snap. He looks middle to pull in the boundary hook defender. Once he leans inside, he fires the ball to the boundary on a curl route. Here, he recognizes the linebacker leaning one direction and drills the ball with anticipation for the TD. He also diagnoses the pre and post snap picture well. Here, the midfield safety is leaning to the field, and in perfect rhythm, he attacks the one-on-one to the boundary on the slot fade with perfect ball placement. Here, Fresno is in 2 high. He immediately keys the boundary corner, and once he sees him sitting, he drills in this hole shot underneath the high safety. On this play, he recognizes the field safety rotate middle post snap, and in rhythm, attacks the 101 to the field with perfect placement once again on the back shoulder throw. On this one, Oregon State shows 1 high and rotates to an inverted cover 2 post snap. He immediately recognizes the boundary corner sitting underneath and fires in the hole shot for the TD. And on the replay, you can see the insane amount of arm talent required to make this ridiculous throw. Now, while he's capable of these highlight reel throws, often his messy footwork leads to inaccuracy. He's inconsistent engaging his lower half into his throws, and too often doesn't finish them properly. Here, he doesn't drive off his back foot to step into the throw, and doesn't bring his back hip through to finish towards his target. On this one, he locks out his front leg on the throw, disrupting his kinetic chain, which leads him to throwing the ball in the dirt. Here, at the top of his drop, his back leg isn't loaded properly, and he misses wide on the speed out. Here, after being forced to move off his spot in the pocket, his front toe isn't on target, and he misses on the check down underneath. On this final play versus a free rusher, his back leg isn't loaded, and he fades backwards in the face of impending pressure and misses long in the deep shot. Caleb Williams' arm talent, athleticism, and instincts for the position make him a safe bet to succeed at the next level. But the real question is just how good he can be. Is he the next Patrick Mahomes? Or is he closer to Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson? On the lower end, potentially Tyrod Taylor. I believe the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I think his issues targeting the middle of the field when he doesn't have clear throwing lanes is a limiting factor and will force him to play a more high variance out of structure style of play. But his processing speed and composure within the pocket will allow him to succeed from within structure, while his physical traits and instincts make him special outside of it. Overall, while he isn't Mahomes, I do believe Caleb will be a Pro Bowl level quarterback at the next level. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like or comment down below to let me know what you think. And if you're interested in viewing my full scouting notes on Caleb Williams, you can click the link in the description down below. You can also subscribe to my free Substack, which will also be linked down below, to stay up to date on my content as we get into the 2024 NFL Draft. Lastly, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next video, in which I will break down Drake May and answer whether or not he's a better prospect than Caleb Williams.